I'm on a roll today. Sorry I'm so scruffy. This is like the scruffiest I get. I haven't gotten a haircut in a while. But this is, what it is to be homeless. There's things you just gotta tolerate. There's not something wrong with homeless people because they're scruffy and nasty looking. We don't have a fucking shower. We don't have a warm, comfortable place to keep clothes and change into. So, some things you have to become tolerant and accept, and it is what it is. So, again, I wasn't gonna. This is my Hail Mary toss at bringing what I've learned from being on this planet into the world, making my mark. My Hail Mary to not have a retirement of poverty where I can't care for my son, I can't be an economic example for my son. I'm not an economic asset. Like I said in the last video, I would understand if he never talked about me or brought his mate around me in displaying his economic viability. I'm a liability to his economic viability. At 65 years old, being the latter half of the boomer generation, the portion of the boomer generation that did not do well, did more like the generation that followed the extremely successful boomers. But it's also like that game of Monopoly that caused all kinds of temper tantrums and angry outbursts and true colors being shown by the luck of the draw. And there was, some true innovation and stepping up and, impressive stories of how people got where they got. But in an era where in Massachusetts, one of the most liberal states, 1 in 3, and this is 2 years old, I think, I don't know what it is now, but 1 in 3 people in Massachusetts experienced food insecurity. Now that's just absurd. I certainly have. So it's time to, fold up the Monopoly board. Somebody became extremely wealthy and dominated everybody else while they died off one at a time in poverty conditions, sold off everything, and just that was the end of the game hours later. Well, it's time to fold up the board. Some people did extremely well. Some people didn't. That 50% of the homeless population is over 50. Over 50 is becoming homeless at a rate we haven't seen since 1929. And I'm sorry if I get some of these numbers wrong. I'm not the smartest person in the room. In fact, I've never wanted to be the smartest person in the room. I like people around me that are much smarter and challenge me and get me thinking and opening new perspectives. And so, set me up for a decent retirement where I can bring joy to the world, joy to my son, joy to my son's friends, joy to a younger generation that is suffering deeply right now. Everybody needs a strong, solid, fatherly male figure. I'm a good one. So to do what I want to do, to be able to entertain my son, I've talked about this before. I've coined the phrase in my own world anyways, parking lot dwellers. There's a lot of us living in our vehicles that dwell in parking lots. Either mobile or, if you know what to look for, you can see fairly permanent, if not permanent, setups of people living in parking lots. You start knowing what the signs to look for are. There's a whole shitload of us out here. Again, I'm just looking at the world very differently, and how do we shake it up so that the bottom benefits immediately? I have some thoughts on that. I talked about mechanics. That's an industry that is upside down right now. You have, I think it was the CEO of Ford saying they had 500 bays empty or 500,000, I don't know. But they don't have any mechanics. But then on the other hand, they're screwing their mechanics and they're screwing their customers. Everybody knows you go to a dealer and you are going to pay top dollar. On the other hand, the dealer is paying peanuts, minimal. They're paying piecework and warranty work, so the mechanics make nothing. There's no job security. I don't know how insurance works, but why insurance is tied to an employer is just fucking ridiculous. You know, that's one hurdle to go from being an employee to a business owner, is you immediately have to pay 4 times as much for your health insurance. Now you stay with an employee for the security reason, even though it's a dead-end job and it has a 401k that may or may not survive a bankruptcy. You know, why they put pensions as fair game in a bankruptcy, I don't know, for all those people that did the right things and still ended up in poverty through retirement. So where was I? Parking lot dwellers, what I've seen, the number of people that are living in parking lots. Yeah, I'm lost. And I got 11 minutes of talking. Oh, yeah. Back to the drugs and the homeless. See, you don't see the parking lot dwellers. You don't see me. There's people that are in other parking lot dwellers, other people that do the landscaping, you know, have jobs collecting carriages in parking lots that see me and all the parking lot dwellers regularly. But society doesn't see us. And we're not the drug addicts. We're not the, yes, we all have mental health. Yes, I have my addictions. I smoke pot, I smoke cigarettes, but try living my fucking life without getting numb. You know, there's days when I'm not stoned. I like the clear-headedness and how I feel. But it's also exhausting confronting the conditions of my life. So yes, I turn to smoking pot, and when I'm stoned, I can do it. I'm happier. I'm clear. I mean, when I'm not stoned, I'm clearer-minded. I'm happier. I prefer that feeling, but it's also I take naps, and sometimes I take naps right at rush hour. I'm so fucking exhausted. And then when I smoke pot, I can stay awake. We're not all drug addicts. We're all not. And then it gets to economic viability and support and mental health. These issues would be gone at probably a fraction of the cost. Talking about economic viability, you want to stop crime. Provide economic opportunity to the criminals. Yes, you're going to have criminals that are criminals, and we got to lock them up, and they, an eye for an eye. They got to do their time that meets the crime. It's the drug addicts that you see that don't have. See, I consider myself middle class homeless because I have a vehicle, and in particular, I have a vehicle, the worst fucking vehicle in the world to be doing food deliveries in. But I have a bed. I get to lay down flat and get a good night's sleep. And you would be surprised at how rock hard the plushes memory foam is when it's cold. And, if you see, it molds right to you and there's no moving it until your body warms it up, and then it's acceptable. I still, like I say, I get a good night's sleep, so I'm middle class homeless. And then I had somebody ask me what I considered upper class homeless, and pretty much it's any vehicle that has a big box up on top of it, HVAC unit for heat and AC without running the motor. So anyway, I'm middle class. You don't see me. You don't see Incognito upper class with HVAC on the roof. Other than, the documentaries where you see fucking parking lots full of them. That's not the case around here. And yeah, what kind of life is it? How do you not do drugs? And how do we not provide mental health care for, and we're talking veterans out there doing drugs and PTSD, and God help us that we're not helping them either. We're in desperate times. I'm talking about something unique, controversial. Help me out. Let's find a solution. Let's make this a joyous place to be again. Yeah, I think I'm just going to have to watch this, make another video, and see if I can tie these together. But I'm sorry about that thing flopping around the top of my head. Yeah, I would love to restore the truck and get some dual exhaust on it and lift it. My fucking boy would be so tickled pink, and then you got to, would put a plow on it. Because when it storms, we go out. And that's just a good excuse to go bashing in the storm. Bashing in the truck in the snow. I got videotapes when he hasn't been able to go doing donuts in the snow so that he just remembers. So, yeah, let's do something unique and different. Change the world, bring the joy, bring progressive policies, and peace out. Bring the joy. Spread the joy.